It's the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
We shouldn't have this thing that the priest cannot be approached, or the priest has to be a very distant. No, I mean, we are to be close to the people, to allow them to know God, and then us to get to know them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flavor of the Week, brought to you by Banditos, fresh, made daily. In Flavor of the Week, Kyle sits down with one of our local priests to sample variations of a favorite food or drink while they discuss the ins and outs of life as a priest.
Welcome to Flavor of the Week, Part 3 with Father Jose Arroyo.
Jose Emmanuel Arroyo Acevedo. Jose Emmanuel. That's what it is. Joseph Emmanuel. Jose Emmanuel Arroyo Acevedo. Acevedo. Arroyo means creek, by the way. A small stream of water.
Creek.
Yeah.
Huh. Good to know. All right. We have tried the Greek raspberry.
Yes.
We tried the regular blueberry. Mm-hmm. And now we've got a cheap, low-fat strawberry yogurt and a more expensive, finest strawberry yogurt. Which one would you like to try first here? I'm curious to see if you think, basically the expensive is almost 3 times as much as the cheap. Okay. If you think,
wow.
yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Let's do the less expensive.
Start with the cheap one here.
Gluten-free.
Do you watch your gluten intake? Is that something you've been worried about?
No.
Do you lick the lid on your yogurt?
Sometimes, yeah, I do.
I don't know if that's rude to do in polite company.
No way. No way, Jose. It's fine.
No way, Father Jose. How many people call you Father versus Padre?
Well, the Hispanics always call me Padre. It's just natural. And then, I'm English speaking, they just say Father. It's just natural to them as well. But yeah, it's fine. I think most people say Padre Jose, or the kids would call me Father Jose. I go by my first name because, as you can tell, it's hard to pronounce my last name anyway. So I'm like, let's do the Jose. Everyone knows that.
Okay, this is another thin one.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like this is thinner than the blueberry was. It's a different brand.
Yeah.
This is low fat. I don't think either of the other ones were low fat.
Yeah. But it's not as tasty.
It is more. It's more bland. It's more.
Mm-hmm.
Almost feel like they watered it down. Like how can we stretch this?
Like some people would do with the faith. No, it's boring.
All right, we'll see if next time if the more expensive one. There is chunks of strawberry in it though.
There is. Yeah.
I do like that. All right, so we talked about your missionary work, going to different countries, but also I think you can consider the work that you're doing locally, missionary work,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
We talked about missionary. We're all called to be missionaries to go out and preach the gospel. So what are some of the things that you do locally as part of your priestly ministry?
Sure. I guess my first responsibility is to be the parochial vicar at St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church. That's where the bishop sent me. So
in Goshen.
In Goshen, Indiana. Not to be confused with St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church in Goshen, New York. For those of you who don't know, there's a town Goshen in New York called Goshen, and they also have St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church.
Well, I'm really glad I plugged in the right one in my GPS, because otherwise I would have been headed in the wrong direction.
Do you know what? They also sent, at some point, the bishop over there, the Cardinal Dolan, sent a newly ordained priest over there who was also Puerto Rican. My good friend, Father Adalí Rosado, who's just one day older than I am. So it's like amazing. Really? Yeah, it's amazing. That was just a coincidence.
How do you know each other?
I studied in New York. I lived over there, so we got along very well.
Yeah.
Being Puerto Rican and we're connected.
That's funny.
But so over here in Goshen, in Indiana, at St. John's, I have the parish community that is multicultural, but is bilingual. We have English speaking, which I would say is like 1/3, and then 2/3 is the Spanish speaking community. I want to say is. We also have a school.
Are most of the Spanish speaking people bilingual?
Well, the children are, but not the parents.
Okay.
Not necessarily the parents, no. So we have people who only know Spanish.
Sure.
Many people who only know Spanish. And so we have to be attentive to their needs. And thankfully, the pastor also knows Spanish. So we kind of help each other in both communities.
Father Royce Gregerson?
Yes, Father Royce Gregerson, who happens to be younger than I am, by the way.
Really?
So we have a lot of zeal. We have a lot of energy.
He's been a priest longer.
He's been a priest for, I believe, 5 years now.
Yeah.
So
Man,
he's been,
time flies.
Yeah. So we have a school, and I would say 90% of the students are Mexican. So amongst the Hispanic, the majority are definitely from Mexico, but we have others from other countries in our parish and in our school. But majority of the Hispanics are definitely
from
Mexican.
other Central America or
South America as well. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Nearby, we visit homes, especially the elderly and the sick. We have nursing homes. We have a jail ministry that we help. Elkhart County Jail. It's like 18 minutes away from here.
Okay.
Although that was not a responsibility that they asked me to do.
Yeah,
from the
there's
bishop.
probably a closer parish for that.
It's between St. Vincent de Paul in Elkhart and ourselves in Goshen. So it's kind of in between. But I guess it could be closer to them. But our deacon goes over there, and we have a lay person that goes over there and does Bible studies. But they need a priest to hear confessions. So I've been helping. I've been connected to them. Of course, with the pandemic, it has been very difficult, very, very difficult to visit nursing homes and jail. Forget about it. It's like it's impossible, basically, right now. But it's a mission territory as well. I consider my vocation as missionary and my assignment as missionary. So I feel like the parish is my first responsibility, who also has a school. So that's another big responsibility. And all our parishioners who live at home, they are my responsibility. I assist the pastor. So if I have to run to the nursing home or the hospital for our parishioners, that's my responsibility. And then there are other things that get added on, that are either initiatives from other people that they just ask me, like Redeemer Radio. They come and ask me to do something. That's something kind of extra, yet I try to take time for that. Or if I have people trying to reach me through social media, I try to, from other places, I try my best, but it's not always possible. And I know that this is my first responsibility, the parish.
So when you're talking about hearing confessions at the jail, I actually used to work at a county jail as a jail officer for a while, kind of like filling in for breaks. And we'd see different volunteers coming in from different churches, to visit people, do a little Bible study or something like that.
Yeah.
I never heard of any of them wanting confession or ever being offered to them. Mm-hmm. Is that something that has been going on at the Elkhart jail for a while, or is that something that you started, or there was somebody that wanted a confession, or do you go in and say like, hey, does anybody want confession? So I guess, do they request it or do you offer it first? Which happens?
Well, there's a group of like the deacons and the lay people that have a Bible class, right?
Okay.
Bible class. And they started from scratch, like inviting people to that class. And then as they meet regularly on Fridays, then they would ask the priests, and not only me, but the priests that are in this area, if they're able to visit. And so let's say once a month, a priest would go. So anyone in that Bible class, they would be offered, if they wanted to go to confession, the father is available. So either they prepare for that day, or if they want more like a counseling session, like an hour thing, just not for confession necessarily, but just to talk about certain things.
Spiritual direction, would you call it?
Spiritual direction or counseling. So we would do that. Like they would give me their names, their ID number, their prison number, and I would go and visit them, specifically them, because they have requested it. So it goes both ways. Either they request it, or if I show up for the Bible study, we would offer it. And anyone who wants to, they can go to confession there. So it's kind of like we had to kind of go into the bathroom, because there's not really, like, we try to find a space that's private, and it's just really, really difficult because they're not very Catholic in the environment. So we have to like push for things. One of the things that I did want to push for, it was to celebrate Mass once a month previous to the pandemic. And we were pushing for it. Bishop was writing letters, and I was trying to get everyone on the same page. that was something that I was passionate about, and they were giving me a hard time because they didn't want me to bring in alcohol.
Sure.
We need wine to celebrate Mass.
But all you need is enough for yourself.
Oh, but you have to try to explain this to them. It's not for the guards, it's for us, because they think that we're like the Protestants that hand out bread and juice and everyone partakes of it, and we don't do that. Plus, it's not just bread and wine. For us, it's the body and blood of Christ, but they don't understand these theological terms, and they're not Catholic friendly. Head chaplain was he was courteous and all that, but he doesn't understand like right now, they don't have the volunteer chaplains coming in, but they don't have the concept of, okay, we have Catholics, and maybe they should have Catholic Bibles. They should have Catholic clergy coming in for confession, because only they can, like the priest, only they can celebrate Mass, hear confessions, stuff like that. They don't have that. They don't understand that, and they really don't care. So a lot of the prisoners are, a lot of them, we have a big number that are Hispanic.
Okay.
So a lot of them are from Catholic backgrounds. They're baptized, and it may be the first time that they actually go to confession after many years. So if a priest is there and is available, I mean, a lot of times they will take advantage. Who else will they trust? I mean, and plus we're from outside, we come in. I mean, the possibilities of them going to confession are really high if we propose it. And the same thing for communion, if we had Mass. But it's difficult. It's a hard apostolate.
So any hope that you'd be able to do a monthly Mass there, or is that pretty much shut down?
With the COVID thing,
right.
I think it's really hard to convince them now to bring anything from outside.
Right.
It's really hard. But my main concern is to get all those Catholics that want to go to confession to speak. They do have access to the internet. They're able to have virtual visits with their family, and our deacon and they still visit virtually.
Okay.
But we can't hear confessions virtually, so it's a whole nother dimension there.
So the other thing you mentioned was visiting people in the homes.
Yes.
Are you talking about just anybody just stopping by their house, or particularly people that aren't able to leave their homes, like the homebound?
So we have people who are homebound that we regularly visit. My pastor and myself, Father Royce.
Do you have lay people that help with that too?
We have a deacon, and we have lay people that distribute communion, on a regular basis. But on a weekly basis, really. But once a month, the priest will also go there. So we take turns, Father Royce and myself, the first Friday of the month, and we would visit, just in case they wanted to be anointed, anointing of the sick, confession, and so they can actually see the priest of the parish. And both of us are bilingual, so we're able to reach out to, whether they're homebound, they only know English or Spanish, we can help each other out in that sense. But also, I visit homes when they need a house blessing. So a lot of the Spanish-speaking community, family members, they just love for the priest to go and bless their homes.
Sure.
And then there are others that invite me for crisis. They just have a whole situation with their children. They want me to, the priest to come. And then there are others that invite me to just eat.
Okay, I want to talk about all three of those. So the house blessing, is that something that you'd recommend if somebody's never had a priest come over to their house to bless the house? Is that something that you should do?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We did that whenever we first moved into our house. At any time. We've been in a couple different houses. And have the priest come over.
Sure.
Have them over for dinner, bless the house, go around with some holy water, say some prayers. Okay. So put that on your list if you haven't done that yet. Second thing you said, interventions, kind of, there's a crisis. If somebody, you mentioned particularly with a kid, so do they have you over with the kid there and they want you to like talk to the kid about something, or is the kid not there and they say, hey, how do we handle this situation? Can you come over and help us?
Oh, I've had both.
Okay.
And I've had very awkward moments. I had one, I'll tell you one experience where I went to a home. They invited me to eat. Oh, I didn't even know it was to eat, but when I'm with his Mexican especially, there's going
to be food.
There's always going to be food. And so I just went to bless the house and I forgot that they're also going to give me food. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to stay in extra time, which I don't mind. Yeah. And I like to eat, so that's not a problem. Yeah. It's just I had other commitments, but anyways. And then the father of the house, which I didn't know, the one that invited me was the mother of the house.
Okay.
She invited me to go over there, and they're telling me that their son was having difficulties, but at that time he wasn't present. So difficulties with his faith. He was confirmed and he has become an atheist.
Okay.
Then they invited me a second time where he was present. And that was really awkward. Not because, I'm a missionary. I don't care. I just go in and I smile and talk with everyone. I joke around. But it was awkward because the first thing that the father of the house did, and I don't know him because he doesn't come to the church. He's like, hey, this kid says that he's an atheist. Can you talk to him about it? And like in front of everyone else. I'm like, oh boy. And so
you say, hey, well, Dad, maybe you should start going to church.
Yeah. Well, eventually I said that. Not at first. I'm like, well, let's cool down. Let's enjoy just coffee or something. And then we talked about the union of faith and reason and how the monks were the ones who held the culture of, even in medieval times, that this is nonsense from the 18th century where they divorced faith and reason. And most of
was that the big issue for the kid? Was the science versus faith?
Yes.
Debate?
Yeah. And but at the end I told the father, I said, why don't we start by you going to church so you can give an example, because you can't give what you don't have, and it's not fair. You're asking him to believe, but what about you? Why don't you participate? So, but when
Did you do that in front of the kid?
I'd say in front of everyone. He started in front of him, and then I had to say it in front of his son. So he's like, yes. I'm like, yeah. So everyone got their punch. But anyways, I usually raise them up, then I drop them, drag them, and then I carry them, I cuddle them again. It's okay.
For those that don't know, you have your brothers are Olympic boxers. So,
yes.
So
they are Olympic boxers. They're now professional.
Yeah.
They don't mess with me though. Like we know who's older and all that. So, but when I visit homes, this is my opportunity to get to know them. So again, the material and the spiritual are united. They invite me to eat. So everyone likes to eat. Even atheists like to eat.
Sure.
So when I go there, we eat and we enjoy a drink, whatever. We're relaxing, and then we're able to have questions pop up, questions that maybe there's no other forum to ask, because they're not going to ask the question in the middle of mass when they are dragged to go to church on Sunday, but they have the opportunity. And who knows if something is sparked within them to start considering something, the life in a different way, the faith in a different way, their relationship with God in a different way. So it's been good. From those visits, I've had even TikToks that have come up, but that's for another segment.
There you go. Good.
We have had so many opportunities. I love doing visits. I love it. Christ visited those at home. He loved Martha and Mary, right? And Lazarus. He would go to their home. So it's not a bad thing. We shouldn't have this thing that the priest cannot be approached, or the priest has to be a very distant. No. We are to be close to the people, to allow them to know God, and then us to get to know them. So when I preach, I'm preaching to people who I've visited, or I know their experience. So I'm not talking, things up here are very elevated and boring. Because the definition of boring, I was told that it's when you answer a question that no one has asked. And to preach on something that no one cares for. Right. Like no one has asked that question. Why are you talking to give me this answer? Well, that's the definition of boring. But if you reach their heart and you see what is in their mind, what is bothering them, what are the source of anxiety, then and address that, then you have reached a lot. You have done a lot. You have accomplished a lot. So it may be the beginning of greater things. So,
all right. Well, you mentioned TikTok, and I want to spend a whole episode talking about TikTok and what you've done there, and how you see this as part of your mission, and if TikTok is something that people should go to, be on, or stay away. Get your thoughts on it. And also, we have to compare this cheap strawberry yogurt to the good one. So, brief recap here.
Yes.
Greek raspberry was A+.
Yes.
The blueberry yogurt was an A-. What do you give the cheap strawberry yogurt?
I think
this is low fat. That's another reason why it's a little more bland, probably.
Maybe it's a B.
It's a B. Okay, so we've been declining here. We'll see if the expensive strawberry can pull things back up, or if it's just right on par with the cheap strawberry.
All right, great.
That'll be coming up on Flavor of the Week Part 4, brought to you in part by Banditos. For more shows, check out KyleHyman.com. Subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. And until next time, Remember to leave room for the Holy Spirit.